Hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. Today I am back with stories 5 and 6 in my December daily, and I am working on a page from a work event and just kind of talking about some of the events that were happening at work during this particular week. And what I just cut down was the back of my daughter's chocolate advent calendar. We finished it off and I thought the image was really cute and I wanted to use it in my December daily, so I decided to use it on this page, and I'm going to use it as a background for these photos. And I do have a pocket here, so what I'm going to end up doing is making both the little gingerbread house and then the picture of me and my coworker. We're going to put them on cardstock and then make them into tags. So you'll see that here in just a couple minutes. So right now I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do. At first I was a little concerned that this background with the advent calendar was going to be a bit too busy, but I really like the house image and I thought it went really well with the gingerbread house that we have in the picture. So I ended up going with it, and I really do like how it turned out in the end. So basically what I am doing now is just trimming off because it was a little bit too big still. I kind of wanted to keep that red border, but it just wasn't going to work for the page. So I do trim that down so that it's going to fit better on this piece of paper. And then what I'll end up doing is I will glue this with some 3-in-1 adhesive here, and that works really nice and it helps from the page wrinkling. The paper on the left is a coffee dyed or tea dyed paper, I can't quite remember which one, and so it's pretty thin, so if you use a water-based glue it will tend to buckle and bubble, and I didn't want that to happen, so I end up using this 3-in-1 instead, and it just gives a more smoother finish to the page. And I'm just going to glue that down. And I could have used dry adhesive too, but I wanted something that would move a little bit because I did have to kind of finagle it to go on the page and not quite get down in the pocket. I thought the dry adhesive, it would end up sticking too fast and then I wouldn't be able to move it. So I opted for this wet adhesive. And I do have a little bit extra adhesive down here, but I just can rub it off. That's the nice thing about that 3-in-1, that it just kind of rubs off. And the sooner you get to it, the easier it is to rub off. And then that worked perfectly. So then my pocket doesn't stick anymore. So now I am going through this page with the tags, and I want to trim off this one that has the green. I thought that would look really pretty for the background. So I'm going to mount the small little square picture of the gingerbread house on this card, and I'm going to punch out the hole in the center. And then I will ultimately add some fabric to the tie top here. But first I am going to mount the little square photo onto another piece of colored cardstock. I just thought it needed a little bit of background color to separate it from the kind of cream color of the tag. And I'm just trying to decide if I want a red or a green. And ultimately, I believe I picked this red here, if I remember correctly. Just kind of trying to see what I'm going to end up using through the page. So I'm going to glue this down and then I will trim it out. And I'm also going to use this same color red paper for the background of the tag for the picture of me and my coworker. And I just want a little bitty border around this. I don't want anything too large. And then I'm just going to trim that out. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this series. I do have a couple more days or stories that I will share with you guys. I'm not sure how many I'm going to ultimately end up getting, but as long as I have time before I go back to work after the first of the year, I will try to post a few more videos. And we'll kind of just see how it goes. But if you are enjoying the series, I'd love for you to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. It always helps me out and tells me you guys are interested in watching. So I really appreciate everyone that has been watching so far this season. And those that have given me thumbs up, I really appreciate it. But I love that when you guys leave comments as well. So if there's any comments or anything you want to ask me or just to chit chat, I'd love to hear from you guys. So you can leave those comments below. Now I'm just going through my sticker book, and I thought the fragile little sticker would be cute with the little gingerbread. So I'll end up adding that there at the top. Next, I am going to work on the photo of me and my coworker. And I'm going to mount it on that red cardstock like I mentioned earlier. And again, just a pretty thin border, but I do want to leave room at the top because I do want to make this into something that looks like a tag. So it mimics the tag shape of that green one that I was just working on. So I will mount that here and then I will trim it out. And I actually end up using the tag, the green tag, as a way to measure, I guess, if you will, the top part of the tag. So the angles are nice and clean. So you'll see that here after I trim this out. And I do use my trimmer. It's just going to give a straighter edge than trying to use my little scissors there. So I'm just measuring up just a little bit farther past the top of the photo. And then we will trim that all the way out, and I will use that other tag as a template. My book is getting super chunky. I am very concerned that I'm not going to be able to use this next year for 2025. I just don't know if it's going to lay quite flat enough. The left side is pretty bulky. I do have 2 signatures after this signature left, which was the intent. I was trying to have enough for 3 years. That was what I thought about when I first made this journal. I'm just not sure we're going to make it. So just kind of depending on how many stories I end up putting in this year. I definitely don't have as many stories or pictures this year than I have in the past. So I won't bulk it up too much more, but I just don't know if I can get away with another year after this. But time will tell and we'll see. So now I'm just going to punch a hole at the top of this, and then I will end up going in my stash and grabbing some hole reinforcers so that it mimics the hole reinforcer kind of image that's on that smaller tag. And the hole reinforcers are just something I think I got from like Dollar Tree. You just want to make sure you get the ones that are paper and not like a glossy texture. And then I ended up using my distress ink and just distressing them to get that color on there. Just using my tweezers to place it very nicely. And then I'm going to go through my stash of fabric scraps and figure out which fabric scraps I'm going to use to tie the top. And first, before I did that, I just took it to my sewing machine, stitched around all the edges. One tip that if you are stitching through a darker cardstock or pattern paper, and if you get like that white core through the middle when you punch it with the sewing machine, you can take your distress tool and just rub over that paper that is kind of poking through that turned white or that's white, and you can knock it back by adding that distress ink, and then it doesn't look quite as stark white. So you can see a little bit like I did that in the red tag. It's kind of hard to tell because I didn't show it before, but it does look so much better after I've added that ink around the edges. It doesn't look as stark white. So I just glued that pocket down and added a little scallop sticker edge from the sticker sheet. And here is the fabric that I'm going to be using to tie. And this is just fabric that I had in my stash for making some other projects that I have. And I am going to just fold this over and then pull it through. I want it to be as flat as possible, and I thought this was the best way to make it work without having to add a staple and not putting a knot in it. So this does lay pretty flat, and that works really well since, like I was mentioning, the album's bulking up quite a bit. So now I'm going to pick a color for the other tag, and I'm just going to rip this down the side. It had some of the, what is that, what's that edge of the fabric called? I can't remember what that's called now. The bias? No. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, it had that extra salvage, the salvage edge. It had that salvage edge on there, so I just trimmed a little bit and I ripped it down the side, so I had the kind of frayed edge on both sides, and that worked perfect. It's a vintage fabric, so it ripped very nicely. So now I want to put something at the bottom here. I'm going to add these gold sticker letters from Stucco, and I'm going to spell out the word building. I thought it'd be kind of fun to say team building. Obviously, you know, with work and stuff like that, team building, obviously, you know, but I thought it was cute because we actually built a little gingerbread house, so I thought it was kind of funny and cute to use the word team building here. It seemed appropriate. And then I'm going to write the word team with these little circle stickers. I think I got these from the Target Dollar Spot several years ago. They're not in any packaging or anything, so I don't have any of the branding. Oh, no, I don't have the branding. But I think it was from the Target Dollar Spot, or maybe the dollar store, one of the two. But I know it was something like a cheaper version of the stickers. And I think that turned out really cute. So there is the finished piece as far as the scrapbooking. And then I just did my journaling on my vintage typewriter. And I typed it up, cut out the strips, and that is it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And I will be back soon with another story to share. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.